thank you all for joining us this morning or this evening, depending on where you are. Uh, we are so happy to have our featured speaker for this conservation chat, Wahdi Azmi. He is a leader in elephant conservation in Sumatra's northern province in Aceh. He is a member of the IUCN Asian Elephant Specialist Group and co-founder of the Veterinary Society for Sumatran Wildlife Conservation. He has vast experience in conservation work. He is globally recognized for his work, speaking before the United States congressional staffers, helping to develop and coordinate the 2017 Asian Elephant Range States meeting, which resulted in the historic Jakarta Declaration. He's received multiple awards, including from the Director General of Biodiversity Conservation from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry for his work regarding Sumatran elephant conservation and promoting sustainable development. IEF has supported his work for many years, mainly the conservation response units, which you'll hear a lot more about today. We are so proud to support his work and to share him and his enthusiasm with you direct from Sumatra. We have veterinary DVM, Wahdi Azmi. Welcome, Wahdi.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you very much for the warm welcome and very long introduction. Hello, good morning, everyone, and actually also a very good evening for myself, actually, that I'm very delighted for the opportunity to be part of your serial conservation chats. I think it is a very brilliant idea to keep the information flow between your world and our world here, where the elephant is struggling for survival. In the next good hour, I'm happy to share some informations and thoughts, and I know we're going to have some discussion later that I look forward to it. Allow me to unambiguously convey a big thanks from our colleagues in Sumatra to IEF and board of directors, donors, and allies for the support that you channel through IEF since very long time in Sumatra, and we hope that it will be continuing even stronger in the future. We do need you to help solve some very complicated and very time-sensitive problem as we are racing with extinctions of not only Sumatran elephant, but also many other species who live in associated and share the same habitat. And now let me share the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we definitely can.
Okay, the first part of my presentation will be mostly talking about problem and challenges, the part that everybody will like it. Well, there's nothing small when it comes to the elephants, including the problem itself. So we have a scale of problem here that don't fit easily in national or regional cross-sectoral development agenda. The problem that don't fit easily in the time frame that we are used to dealing with. I count on you to come in with good ideas, solutions, and suggestions, and also collaboration, of course, as it is an effortless for you to think out of the box as you are out of the boxes that we are living with in Sumatra. This is an outline of my presentation this morning. Now I'm doing introductions, and later we will discuss some challenges, a little bit background on the CRU concept and efforts, some of the actions that we have been progressing in Sumatra, and some future plan. Yeah, elephant conservations require a wide spectrum of works. I don't know if it's a good English, but just trying to make up myself. But we have several challenges that time bound, very important, require deep transformation and require a change of directions on how we positively live in coexistence with elephant as an umbrella species. Elephant habitat outlining other key species and become an important safeguard to ensure minimum requirement for a great balance to be fulfilled. In Indonesia, elephant conservationists should spend huge amount of time to deal with policy development at higher level, and yet at the same time, we need to keep our foot touching the ground, keep busy with the local and field level of work such as human-elephant conflict mitigations, patrol, etc. I'm afraid the minimum cost to conserve the elephant is actually the entire development cost itself. The real challenge is about how cross-sectoral development agencies being sensitive in doing their businesses to the fact that the elephants are present around us. Yeah, which I just want to do some very brief overview about some of the policy development work with the support from IEF and US Fish and Wildlife Service and others. We hosted the Asian Elephant Rank State Meeting in Jakarta 2017. Where the government authority for all Asian elephant rank countries meet and result in the first declarations on Asian elephant conservation called Jakarta Declarations on Asian elephant conservations. We do also work at national level and involved in creating our national mainstream documents for elephant conservation, such as National Strategy and Action Plan for Elephant Conservations, Emergency Action Plan, etc. We also spend a lot of time working with legislative and established Aceh Sustainable Development Caucus in Aceh Parliament, and its result in a special law for Aceh, wildlife management law, and various legal document and local Aceh regulation framework that supporting elephant conservation. At the very same time, we need to make sure that the real conservation problem are handled at the field level through various schemes that we will talk soon. Yeah, Sumatran elephant is one of the remaining subspecies of Asian elephant exist, and it is the only one that already listed as the critically endangered status by IUCN Red List. And well, this is not the status that we should proud of, but this some countries, some other countries who also have Asian elephant, maybe they have smaller number elephant, but those elephants belong to the same subspecies to other countries in Asia. But for Sumatran elephant, it is only in Sumatra Island, and that's why the status become critically endangered. So the challenge, if you can see, maybe a bit small, but if you can see the map in the slide, that the red shaped areas is where the elephant population distribute in the island of Sumatra. And if you see the dark green area, it is actually the remaining forests in Sumatra. And the yellow area is actually the area designated for cultivation or plantation area. So if we see in the southern part of Sumatra, yeah, and actually the red shape, which is the elephant, is not really overlapped with the green, dark green one, which is, and in fact, they are in the middle of the yellow one, which is in the middle of the plantation. So this is uh, the the uh, the challenge that most of the elephant population is actually not really living inside the conservation area or even the forest. Yeah, this is the fact. But also, but in the northern part of Sumatra, you see in the north tip of Sumatra, it is the Aceh province. We still have a good forest cover. Well, Sumatra Island is an island quite big. Yeah, it's around more than 400,000 kilometers square. This is the same size with Japan as a country. And Aceh province in the north of Sumatra is size about 58,000 kilometers square, and half of the Aceh province still, or more than half, still have a forest cover. So in the future, it's more important for Aceh to protect the elephant because it is going to be automatically receiving the mandate from national government to conserve our remaining elephant in the future, because this is the only promising area maybe in Sumatra, left in Sumatra. So this is a real fact, the fundamental fact that everybody need to consider every time we want to conserve elephant, that the elephant is not really inside conservation area, means that because the government system in Indonesia about forestry sector, all the conservation area is still belong to the central government authority, including conservation of the species. But a lot of other forests is managed by the local government. So in this facts, the implication of this situation, we really need to work with the local government. Everybody need to work together. Although the government, central government still have the authority, but they need to work with the local government, because the local government is the one who own mostly the forest, manage the forest area. See, this is yeah, but in the southern part of Sumatra, in Waikambas, yeah, it is a good status national park. Together with Bukit Barisan Selatan is probably two of the national parks that still have very good number of elephant populations. But in Waikambas, the problem is after the genetic study, we learned that the genetic variety is very low. Potentially, all elephant group in Waikambas is, have the same father in the past, something like that. So although the protection is very good, but we still have the challenge from the genetic issues. Yeah. And we're going to talk more about Aceh province. Yeah, this is the one of the main issue in Sumatra is habitat loss. Because actually human and elephants really competing for the same land, because from our GPS color data analysis that we learn, the movement of the elephant is really overlap with the area in our spatial planning designated as the cultivation area, simply because it is lowland forest and flat area. So human and elephant prefer the same type of the land. That's why we are completing and conflicting all the time since long time ago. So yeah, Aceh province hosts almost half of the entire Sumatra elephant populations, not because of the Aceh province have a good job in increasing the population very dramatically, but because in other provinces the populations and habitats gone very quickly. That's why then now it's become very important for Aceh Well, in the past, Riau province also have a very good number of elephant population and also habitat, but now almost gone. Yeah, and Aceh still keep almost 60% forest cover uh, uh, from the entire area, and uh, uh, actually, Aceh province is the only province in Indonesia where we still have four key species living in the same landscape. Yeah? We still have orangutan Sumatra, we still have elephant, Sumatran elephant, Sumatran tiger, and Sumatran rhino. So, well, in central Sumatra, in Kerinci Seblat, we have also large national park. We have many other biodiversity and key species, but they don't have orangutan. In Kalimantan, we have larger area of forest. They have orangutan, but they don't have tiger. And Aceh province still have these four key species. Yeah, elephant, orangutan, rhino, and tiger. Yeah, for tiger and elephant, this is the two wildlife that mostly have the conflict with the human, with the community who live in the edge of the forest. We're going to talk a little bit about the problem again, the human-elephant conflict in almost all terrestrial of Aceh province. We have conflict because we also have elephant in almost all terrestrial Aceh. Yeah. And it is worse because some of the commodity that we choose to be introduced to Aceh lately, for example, like palm oil palm, is not really compatible or suitable with the fact that we have elephants around us because they simply they like it and they eat it. And actually, there are more options on commodity that also very important in terms of economy, but doesn't eat by the elephant in competition. For example, like coffee. Coffee is very important in terms of economy, but elephant doesn't eat coffee or drink coffee. Yeah, here this is human elephant conflict. Maybe in very often it's at one time we have two, three, or four different conflict in Aceh province in different areas. Yeah, and of course this is also become the important cause that that we lose some of the elephant from human elephant conflict, from poisoning, retaliation, killing, yeah, from the human elephant conflict. We also still have some issues of hunting, illegal hunting, uh, but mainly from the human elephant conflict. We It's not a very good news. Yeah, I just want to be honest with you. When we talk about problem, then I will tell you that we still have many elephants die in Aceh for those reasons. Yeah, mainly the retaliation of from human elephant conflict. But we have a new trend, which is not very good news and very sad that people now also put electric fence, not the one that designed for the wildlife, but the fence, the electric fence that they can kill everything. Not only elephant. It's at some point we have 5 elephant deaths in one point, but human also become the victim of this brutal, electric fence, which is illegal, and we count that's already 17 human deaths from this electric fence in Aceh. So now we are working with the police department and BKSDA and also provincial government try to solve this problem the entire Aceh. Again, this is not a very good apa, prestation of all the elephant conservationists. We can say that we very successfully the entire Sumatra, the populations keep going down from various reasons that we already discussed. Okay, very stressful introduction. Now allow me to introduce a little bit about the conservation response unit concept to you. Conservation response unit is a concept we start in late 2002. This CRU is consists of community rangers, mahouts, national park rangers, and also, of course, the elephant, captive elephant, and we try to work very close with the community, dealing human elephant conflict directly. In the past, all the elephant only keep in one big center in Aceh, and this team have to go around Aceh to try to handle and mitigate human elephant conflict, which is impossible because there are so many conflict in everywhere. So very often in the case in the past that some conflict area never visited, nobody respond and support the situation with the community. The idea of CRU is to locate a small team in all area that's very sensitive in human elephant conflict and try to work directly with the community. In Aceh itself, now we have 7 CRUs. In northern Sumatra, we have 1 CRU in Tangkahan, middle of Sumatra, in Seblat, and also now the similar concept also developed in the Lampung province, which is in the Waikambas National Park. We have 4 teams operated plus 1 mobile team. So as I mentioned, the composition of the CRU personnel is community ranger, forest management unit rangers, mahout, or keeper. The working together as the collaborative management unit. So what I want to say about this is, in the past, in the traditional camp, the keeper, the mahout, the only task is for them is to keep the elephant given water and food, and there's no chance for them to be involved more in conservation works, although they are managing under the government institution for conservation, but they don't really use for any purposes. Now, I think the good thing about the CRU is the mahout now have a new dignity. They have new skill. They can do patrol. They can use handheld GPS. They can help the community with the human conflict and various activity to support the task for the national park. So in Aceh, and this is in summary of what we are trying to do. We hope that the elephant will live peacefully in their habitat. We know there are some existing natural barrier formation, but there are some gap of the barrier, so we will put the artificial barrier strategy here. We monitor the movement of the elephant with GPS collar. So GPS collar data we can get close to the real time, like every 4 hours we know the elephant group moving. So this data can also be used as the early warning system. The CRU team will monitor the the movement of the elephant, but also at the same time working with the community to see the effectiveness of the barrier strategy, work with the community for the alternative commodity. They can also suggest some agroforestry that which is compatible with the elephants, things like that. So we try to, there's no single solution for the human elephant conflict, but we're trying to combine some of these solutions. So talking about the barrier strategy, the idea, the different of Sumatra Island, maybe Africa, or maybe even Kalimantan, we have a very rough topography, and some of the area it's already effective as the natural barrier. So the idea of barrier strategy is just to fill the gap where the elephant going out from the habitat or the forest, go outside to the cultivation area. So this is where we put the artificial barrier to strengthen the existing formation of the natural barrier. Uh, yes. So, as I already mentioned earlier, that almost the entire of the Aceh province have the elephant populations, and now the 7 CRU is actually attached to each important habitat for the elephants. So later, when we discuss about future plan, we actually trying to transform the existing CRU into management unit for the essential ecosystem area. But now we also working with the governments and partners to put the to develop the better strategy in 20 different locations. Now the progress is we already done about 20 kilometer of power fence combined with the elephant canal in different places. And this one is the Aceh Jaya in the west coast. We also do the same thing. But the important thing about the barrier strategy that we should not cut any home range of the elephant populations. We only try to stop where they go out and create complete in the cultivation area. So this is some pictures of example of the barrier or fence, the ditch, canal. This one, the gate, yeah. So the community still can access their area, but we have a gate. Then we need to teach the community how to go in, and we need to put the fence on again. Yeah, this is the canal. In some area, the land is maybe quite not very stable, so we put this log to support also. Yeah, we also now in Aceh province, we already collaring 12 elephant in different groups. The idea of GPS collaring is, to, of course, to confirm the home range of the elephant, so it can help us for the management of the habitat. Yeah, when we for example, if we want to propose the increase of the status in one area on elephant habitat, so this GPS data will be very important for us to convince the governments that actually this area are used by the elephant. That's why we need to propose that. But also the GPS core data is very important information for us when we want to set up barrier, artificial barrier. So we know exactly where the elephant maneuver between the existing natural barrier, and they go out and to the village area. So the support of the data from GPS Scholar will make the strategies become more efficient, but also at the same time very effective, because we work based and get the orientation from the existing natural barrier. And again, we can also then use this data for early warning system for human-elephant conflict mitigations. This is the area where we already put the GPS collar in Aceh. So almost all the population in Aceh is now monitored by the GPS collar. This is one example on how we try to make use the data from GPS collar and in the North Aceh. So we try to overlay this elephant movement with the slope map. So we understand that why this elephant using this area, not for the north, because there are strong existing natural barrier that prevent them to go outside and make more conflict. But we can see also there are some gaps that the elephant go out and create some conflict in here and in some other places also. So the idea is now we're trying to propose this area, this entire area, become new essential ecosystem area, but then we need to work to enforce and strengthen the existing natural barrier and put some artificial barrier so the elephant can peacefully live here. So if we have some other problem elephant outside nearby, we can use this area later on to receive the translocated elephant, as long as we already prepare the area very well. This is a WhatsApp group. So all the CRU team leaders and head of BKSDA, even the DG of conservation DG, because he liked to join this group, and they're following and monitoring like every day. So every 4 hours, an operator from BKSDA will post the latest positions in the group, so we can discuss the strategy, or if some team in the process of driving or mitigating the conflict, they will need an update data. So the group is very useful to help us to work more effectively in the field with the CRU team. This is just a picture when we put various GPS collar on elephants. And I think I'm close to the end of my presentations. Maybe too long already. Sarah, you can stop here now. You want to stop me, and we can always discuss later about future plan.
Yeah, if you want, we're starting to get some questions in the chat. Linda's asking what the known population of Sumatran elephants on the island is.
Yeah. Should I respond directly, or
just
yeah?
Yeah, just tell us all.
We have now, based on our consolidated data for our national strategy and action plan document, we agree about 1,700 maximum is now remaining in Sumatra. And Aceh now we have more than 500 elephants, 550 something in Aceh. So yeah, almost half of the population is in Aceh. But we also have the captive elephant, not only the wild one, but also the captive elephant that are living in the camps in Sumatra, but also in the zoo. In Sumatra, I think still more than like 300 captive elephant in Sumatra. So while we waiting some more questions, you can always read some questions. I will while I can continue some of the slides.
Yes, please.
So the future plan is we're trying to revitalize this CRU concept. Yeah, as we know, and in my earlier presentation, that actually in Aceh all the CRU is not coincident because the reason we have CRUs because we want to deal with the, of course, with the conflict, helping the community. But now, of course, all the CRU is attached to the very important, the prime elephant habitat in Aceh. And in the future, we like to revitalize this concept and make to transform the CRU not only to manage their captive elephant, their camp, and only trying to help the community do some patrol, but in the future, if we're going to have a new status of this habitat management, which is we know that most of the elephant is outside conservation area. It is belong to the local government, but now we want to bring everybody work together like BKSDA, although this area of this habitat is not belong to BKSDA, but we want to have a collaborative management, and the management unit we propose to be the CRU in the future, but CRU in the future is not like CRU now, but it's going to be more people with different set of skill, uh, and they're going to have a new mandate to actively manage the elephant habitat in their jurisdictions. So of course we will need to do a lot of things to revitalize this CRU. I would like to to point some of the values that why CRU or ERU is very important, because the CRU concept is, we will see differently. Yeah? CRU is not only working to support the in situ conservation program directly in the field, yeah, supporting the human elephant conflict, doing the patrol, GPS collar, and everything. But also CRU is also working for ex situ elephant conservation strategy. This we already mentioned this earlier, but I just want to summarize that the main role of CRU in situ conservation component is as a main team in implementing comprehensive human elephant conflict mitigation and adaptation. CRU is the one who drives the elephant herd, the crop rider in human elephant conflict areas in timely manner because they are there, they're living there, they're living with the community. So like 24/7 they live with the community there. Yeah. It's not hit and run like we practiced a long time ago. CRU also the one who will translocate individual elephant if needed. They are the one who know where the elephant movement, and they are the one who will set up the barrier strategy and also maintain the barrier together with the community. The CRU team is the one to teach and train the community and establish the community group, yeah, to support the human elephant conflict mitigations. CRU is the main team, although we also supported by the local vet team. But the main team will be the CRU is the one to put the GPS collar and monitor the movement on daily basis as the early warning system. And CRU exercise and inform community on human elephant conflict coexistence concept, yeah? And alternative land use, alternative livelihood options, compatible commodity. This is something that's actually very obvious, but as long as nobody told the community will keep using the same community, which is very prone impacted by the elephant and human elephant conflict. but actually there are more options on other community, which is more compatible with elephant, but also at the same time have very important economic value. So the CRU team also do this kind of work also with the community. More to the in situ role of the CRU, yeah, as a collaborative management unit to actively manage elephant range, MER. We also now in the process of increasing some legal status of elephant habitat as MER. There is a relatively new policy available in Indonesia. We call it EEA, or essential ecosystem area, which is a new policy that give more attention to the area important for the wildlife and biodiversity, but it is outside conservation area. So this is really the solutions from the the persistent problem that we have in the past, but now we have a new opportunity to propose the increase of the status of elephant habitat, although it is outside conservation area. So the CRU is involved in that, but also in the future, we're going to transform CRU into the collaborative management unit for this EEA, together with the other stakeholders, provincial forestry service, BKSDA, which is the conservation agencies, and partners, NGO. And of course, the CRU also conduct community-based patrol and monitoring on elephant range, and also other biodiversity who live in associate with elephants. And also the CRU conduct education and awareness activities targeting community, visitor, and different audience. This is the CRU team in Tangkahan, in Sablat, and they also do some patrol also. They have some findings and they put in the map various wildlife they found during the patrol, and like hornbill, tiger, and sun bear, many other species also. Illegal logging. They also sometimes with the hunter with the snare, bird hunter. We also have some case with tiger hunting, illegal logger. Yeah. I want to just skip. Of course, we do some trainings, some pictures of some CRUs. I want just to quickly point that the advantage of using train or patrol elephant, because this is sometimes become an issue for some groups that why we using captive elephant, and sometimes it's prevent us to get support from donor, because some donors doesn't want to deal with any activity related to the captive elephant, things like that. But we know that the CRU concept is not trying to say that this is the way we conserve the elephant by having the captive elephant, but instead we are actually the one who stop the elephant capturing, the white elephant capturing in Sumatra, because we can convince the government that we do not need to capture more white elephant just in terms of human elephant conflict mitigation, because we can handle it. So we actually the one who stopped the elephant capturing, but we also at the same time trying to make use the resources or the mahout and also the captive elephant itself for more in situ conservation works, because more safety in approaching wild elephant. This is the main reason, because you want, for example, when we do the GPS collaring, we need to dart elephant. We need to go inside the elephant group. So without this, our captive elephant is maybe it's more difficult or even possible. As a tool in human elephant conflict mitigation, as a powerful awareness and education tools, because we sometimes we also have some school children come to our camp, and having the captive elephant is very help us, to for the awareness and education program. Of course, a good portal for long distance patrol. Trained elephant also needed during the capturing of wild elephant conservation purpose, various critical stages, and support ecotourism potency as part of CIU sustainability strategy. Some old pictures from Tangkahan. Do you have more questions, Sarah? This is
Yes,
maybe,
Wadi,
yeah,
we have some more questions in the chat, which is great.
yeah.
So people are asking, how realistic is it converting the current palm oil plantations to something more um, elephant friendly or compatible uh, to preventing human elephant conflict? The kind of switching the crops from things that are appealing to elephants to things like coffee or other,
Other.
yeah.
It's a very interesting and important question, I guess. Uh, uh, some of the college, in other NGO, they're trying to what do you call it, to basically buy yeah, the concessions, or take over the palm oil concession, and they convert into restorations concessions, things like that. But in the future, we really hope that some of the regulation for this plantation scheme will be, we can improve, like although one, let's say we already lose the battle in our special planning stages, that the elephant area is actually allocated for the cultivation area, but then we still can also fight, yeah, let's say, although those area, for example, is not become conservation or protected forest, but how we actually can influence the way that they use those area. For example, maybe now it's difficult for any company to change their crop into other one because of the regulation itself. So we need to troubleshoot this regulation uh, framework in the future, that will provide some option, because the business company, the dedication is the profit, yeah. As long as they can make profit with other things, ecotourism, even like renewable energy, if we have like potential for the water, what do you call, hydropower, thing like that. So any potential for profit, they can, maybe they can adjust themselves. But now the regulation itself is the one who make them make it difficult for them to alternate. Once they already propose for palm oil, then they need to do it palm oil.
Okay.
But I think we can do various things creatively, yeah, including this essential ecosystem area, because all the company, all the palm oil plantation, they need to allocate some percentage of the area for the what we call is the uh, HCVF, yeah, high conservation value area. But so actually the company, they can also join the collaborative management together with others to manage these essential ecosystem areas. So there are some potential solutions that we are trying to explore now, but basically we need to work at the regulatory framework level also. More question?
Yes, definitely. So we have a bunch of questions. One of our listeners is asking about the electric fences, especially the lethal ones. If
Mm-hmm.
how legal are those that are when people put
Yeah.
those up? Is that Because I
It,
know we support barrier fences, but they're non-lethal.
yeah, this is very different. I mean, this, of course, it is not only legal, it is brutal because I can imagine how bad is the quality of our life nowadays. Because I remember when I much younger, you know, we always playing kite. I don't know what is your term.
Yeah, kites.
Yeah, kites, and when sometimes we very busy with the kite, and when uh, sometimes we have to run because there's what do you call it? It's
Across the power lines, hit the.
no, it's uh, the the kite. Sometimes the yeah, we need to run to get our kite and they get lost or something like that. You can imagine any kids can be killed, in the village from this brutal fence. So the answer of the question, it is very illegal. But the thing here, sometimes uh, this is very obvious, but we still need to work. Now, actually, we already start. We're trying to empower not only, yeah, the thing is, like BKS, they are the national park people or the provincial forest service. They don't have all this management unit at the field level until the village level. The
Right.
only organizations in this country that have all the organization until the village level is first the village governments, but then the police and military organizations. So they have their representative at the village level. So our new idea is we're trying to empower this representative from the military and also the police department, the one who they also always attached to the village leader. This 3 person is the one who need to be more empowered because they relatively, working in the small, very small jurisdiction, and they actually know where is the power fence and everything, what their people do. But maybe they simply don't know this is illegal. So that's how we just need to because we don't have eye and hand at that level, so we need to use them to empower them. We already start doing this. Just last week, we have a meeting with the provincial police department, the one who have the responsibility to manage those what we call is Babinsa and Babin Kaptimas, the one representative in each village. We're going to train them and put more education and awareness for the officer. Yeah.
Right. Great. Um, so we're also getting questions about how you measure the success or impact of all the different conservation initiatives that you're talking about. So can you talk a little bit about the different ways that you measure whether something is effective and whether those, like the GPS collars or the patrols or things like that?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, measuring impact sometimes is not always easy. Sometimes we only claim from the anecdotal data, but to be able to see the impact for such an initiative, sometimes 1 or 2 years project is not really the time frame that we're going to see the good impact of it. But some of the activity of the project is very straightforward. We can, for example, like when we do the GPS collaring that activity, of course, the baseline in the past, do we know the home range? No. After the GPS collar, we know the complete home range. Yeah, and it's not only just just as a to apa, just to know, but then we should use those data for the habitat management. We use those for the to propose the new essential ecosystem area. We use those data for make decisions on the artificial barrier strategy and early warning system. So this kind of thing. And the human elephant conflict mitigations, are we successful? Since the human elephant conflict never be handled comprehensively with one single solution. We need to combine everything. So before everything become like comprehensive in one area, like for example, now we are working in the central Aceh in Benar area. We already put like 10-kilometer fence in different places in the area. We believe that it's very important, but it's still not complete. Yeah, of course, the elephant can still go, yeah, in between in the area that we still not having it. Of course, the conflict is still there, but once we finalize the barrier strategy. Once we work with the community to change the commodities or the option of the livelihoods. Once we have the better early warning systems with the strong CRU unit there, hopefully we will see the significant difference. Yeah. But we already have some measure meant for example, like the barrier strategy. We do in the last 3 years, we have the baseline data, how many conflicts in Aceh Jaya, for example, and we also see the data after we put the power fencing and another barrier in Aceh Jaya, and we compare. This is, for example, how we measure some of the impact. But in terms of like education and awareness, it is more difficult to measure because first you need to a long time to be able to change the knowledge, attitude, and even practices of the people. And of course, we will need to measure it through a good methodology, do the baseline survey and do the same survey later on after we conduct the activity. But again, this is the most tough area to measure because we cannot change people only like in 1 year, 2 years. Yeah. We need to work full time, all the time to get it on the long time, medium term. Maybe we can see the difference. Tangkan may be one good example that we've been there since 2002. We started there, and some of the picture I saw actually from the early stage of Tangkan, where we still have stopped the log in the river with the elephant. But now those kind of pictures no longer. When people already change their attitude, they don't go to the forest to log the forest anymore. They want to support the national park management. It's zero logging, zero forest crime. And now they want to, of course, they're now getting more benefits from the ecotourism as a new livelihood for them, and benefiting from the presence of the CRU and the captive elephants with them in Tangkan. So this in Tangkan we can see the difference, the impact. But in a lot of other CRU, they just really new. Not even the community, but even the staff of the CRU itself is still relatively new. We still need to improve their capacity and need to do more training and recruitment of the CRU staff in various places. Yeah. So they're very vary one to each other.
Okay. Uh, I'm glad you brought up Tonkahan. So the Tonkahan CRU is one that's uh, open to people coming to visit, like tourism type things. So we have a couple questions about that. People
Mm-hmm.
would like to know how those tourism activities relate to the protection of the wild elephant populations. So can you kind of explain that?
Sorry, it's a bit
Oh, no.
noisy. Hey, can you repeat again? Sorry.
Uh, People are asking how the kind of tourism and visiting the
Uh,
CRU relates to the protection of wild populations.
yeah, I can only give example the one related to the tourism is in Tangkan because the other CRU is not even started. Well, that's uh, for example, in Tangkan, at some point in the past, we also have what we call a patrol between Tangkahan to Bukit Lawang. This Bukit Lawang also one center for tourism for orangutan, and Tangkahan is the other. So we connect these two areas using the elephant patrol, and you can also invite some special tourists to join with the patrol. So this actually patrol or tourism activity can, it prevents further forest crime activity in between, like encroachment or logging area, because people, at least the illegal logger, will choose other place, not the one that we routinely go back and forth. Uh, and the community in Tangkan indirectly, because in the past Tangkan area, maybe all the men in Tangkan is involved in with the illegal logging, and many of them went to the jail because of the illegal logging. But because of the new livelihood from ecotourism, they understand the value of the forest. And of course, if they want to be supported as the ecotourism area, they need to be zero from the chainsaw noise in the area. So they are the one who protect actually. So not really about CRUs and protecting and go for patrol anymore like before, but now the community themselves is the one who protect. They're very strict about this. So the communities become more independent and have their own system on how to protect their own forests. So the ecotourism is very directly and indirectly is very benefiting the national park management and preventing the forest crime in the area in Tangkar.
Great. So I think what we're hearing is that having that activity involving the community in the tourism activities not only supports Tankahans and the patrol as far as their
Mhm.
activity, but it also gives them something besides the illegal logging. Gives them
Mhm.
something to do
Yeah,
that
establish new livelihoods. Yeah. Livelihood.
exactly. Okay, so let's get to a couple more questions.
Mhm.
Um, so people are asking about how the CRUs operate. Um, so I know we've talked about how there are different CRU teams throughout Sumatra, but people are asking, do the
Mhm.
CRU team members travel around the island? Uh, do they travel around on the elephants? How are those elephants chosen and trained to do this work? So if you could talk about how they set up each CRU unit and kind of the process
Yeah,
of selection.
yeah, yep. Yeah. I think I already mentioned half of it before that in the past, as we always have the human elephant conflict in almost all the terrestrial Aceh, and it is very difficult for the only one elephant camp from Sari to respond the conflict in the west coast and the east coast, and again Aceh is an area uh, size about double of Belgium, only Aceh. So it's not easy to deal with these situations. So the idea of CRU at the beginning is to locate a small team with the capacity and skill they already have because they all came from the elephant camp. They know how to deal with the elephants, not only the captive elephant, but they are the one who involved in the capturing because capturing elephant is something that they regularly do in the past. If we have many captive elephant right now, it is not because of the success breeding program. It is from the remaining capturing elephant in the past. So they are the one who have the specific skill working with the captive and also dealing with the human elephant conflict. So we combine with other component and local authority and also our community ranger, then this small team located in the areas that need support for human-elephant conflict, which is, of course, they will be based there permanently. Yeah. So instead of have one overcrowded big camp, which is also not very good because then they competing for the natural fodder around the camp. But now we through the CRU we locate small team in different areas throughout the province so they can handle or they can respond to conflict in more timely manner because just surrounding them. Yeah. Then of course they need to work with the community. Yeah. So how we choose the elephant? We never catch a new white elephant to establish a CRU. This is I got this some critic about this. I think this is apa. I already mentioned that we are the one who very strongly against the elephant capturing, and we ask the government to have a moratorium for the elephant capturing, and we can convince the government that we don't need more capturing just to as a way to mitigate the human elephant conflict because we can handle with the CIU scheme. So so this elephant that we are using is already trained in previous or traditional elephant camp or government camp in the past. We just try to make use of them that already uh, in the camp, and sometimes we use the term we rescue them from the camp. Yeah, because a lot of problem. Yeah, if we keep all the elephants like many elephants in one camp, it's not only elephant is overcrowded, but also the people and have the various family problem and social problem. Now, of course, it's easy. It's much easier. It's much. It's also much better for the elephant if we then split them in more manageable size of people and also the elephant, and they can get access to the natural fodder easily in the different areas. In the past, if we keep one camp, and of course there's not never sufficient money to buy the food for the elephant. Of course, they need to get the natural fodder around the camp. The way in the way to get the natural fodder in the past, they need to have a long chain. Needed to this system you cannot overlap one with the other elephant because the chain will be tangled. Then they will keep it separately in huge different area. So although in the past, and this is the situation in the past, although one theoretically one can have like 40 elephant, but actually they never meet each other because they keep separately in the chains and they move different places every day. So this is the way to them for to get the natural fodder. Now, once we already move the elephant to the CRUs, and of course it's more easy for us to input new management, improve their welfare status and everything, and get some new knowledge from the modern elephant handling, principles. Yeah.
Right.
More question. I see Arnie is raising hand. Maybe.
Oh, hold on. So let me summarize that for everyone. So we had the long-term elephant management for Indonesia was they were capturing problem elephants and they went to elephant camps, and the CRUs help change that management structure. No more capturing of wild elephants, and instead those unreleasable elephants become team members for the CRUs, and the mahouts and wildlife rangers do their field interventions from elephant back because that helps them reach places that you couldn't reach on
Mhm.
motorbike or vehicle. But it also lets the government know, look, we don't need to do the capture strategy anymore. Uh, does that sound right?
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
And yes, we definitely Julie, I think, has something.
Yes, I was just going to say that wanted to invite everybody, if you wanted to stay on a few minutes after the presentation, that Sarah and Deborah Olson, who is our executive director, all three of us will stay on the line for a few minutes. If anybody out there has any questions that they want to ask us directly about IEF, or if you have any other comments about today's presentation, we would love to hear that too. So we just everybody to just stay on for a few minutes if you can, or if you'd like to.
And at this point, we're technically over time, but if you have more questions, please feel free to ask more or unmute yourself and ask. We would love to answer anything you have. So if you want to unmute, go ahead. You're getting some accolades in the chat, Wahdi. They're thanking you for your very thorough presentation. Everyone's learning a lot.
Thank you. Sorry for the overtime, but
well, we're very appreciative of everybody being on the line today, and we just appreciate everybody taking their time, and all of you who've been part of IEF. We thank you for all you've done.
Absolutely.
Should I exit the screen share?
Sure.
Yeah.
We can have everyone view each
Stop
other,
sharing
and if you want to ask a question or unmute yourself, go right ahead.
I'd love to hear. I know we have a lot of people that are on the call that are volunteers at different places across the country. So, or a lot of people who are working in zoos. I'd like to, and a lot of our donors are on the call too. So if you'd like to even unmute just to say hi and maybe introduce yourself, we'd love to hear from you that way too.
Hey, Wahdi, could you tell us a little bit about how the pandemic and COVID-19 has affected your work?
Affect a lot. Well, in terms of the field activities, not so much, because we still, with the protocol, we still can do a lot of things. But for the CRUs like in Tangkan, where they used to already self-sufficient from the support from ecotourism and all that, of course, it's effectively stopped, because not only because of the visitor is going down, but then the National Park Authority is closed. Yeah, the national park during those time, and now, although people start coming, but the interaction with the elephant is still prohibit, because of the new potential of transfer from human to the animals. That we are now getting some case with the tiger in other place.
Yeah.
So it's not only impacting directly in the field, but then during the pandemic, of course, some of our donors also have some difficult. Everybody being get very difficult time, and we also got stopped from some of the donors for the CRU, and because of the changes of the overseas transfer regulation and things like that. But also technically, some of the zoos also have difficulties during the pandemic. But I guess now many of the zoos already starting again, and maybe it'll be different case in the future.
So more cases of human-elephant conflict because people are at home more and going into habitat more. Is that fair to say?
The human-elephant conflict is not really influenced by the pandemic. but I guess the other factors influence them more, like the natural factors and the traditional movement, things like that is more influencing the, uh, the movement of the elephant. Yeah, we in Aceh, we have a strong belief that we now understand what we want to do, but we just need some time and more investment and to do it comprehensively, because we're starting to understand. For example, once we already put the GPS score in most of the main elephant populations, we understand the movement, which is sometimes very different to what we expect before. Before we put the GPS score, we think the elephant can use this area, for example, nice forest flat, but sometimes this completely different than what we expect in before. But now we can understand. We understand how the elephant use the landscape, and we just need to implement our strategy more. But of course, it will take some time. But we are in a good confidence that we're going to have a good fundament to solve this problem in the future very significantly.
Thank you. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone want to unmute? And did you think of anything?
Maybe I was not really fully answered the previous question about the elephant train. Although we used the train elephant already trained in the previous camp, but then in the CRU, we of course we also have a new standard of elephant training. We have the chance to influence the new management, and we put more various advanced standard for elephant handling and also welfare issue, medical aspects. The CRU staff also benefiting from the training, for example, to some modern facility in Australia, Melbourne. We also have some trainer like Heidi, for example, some of the IF partners who have a long experience with elephant come to Sumatra, including Charlie Gray, Dennis Smith, and many other people, and give training directly to our staff in the CRUs. And actually now we also have the Mahmud Association in Indonesia, and they regularly have at least like annual meeting where they can also share the skill amongst them, and we always have a new a good trainer to come and teach the Mahmuds. So everything improves slowly, but we are happy with this development. And
Wonderful. Well,
hopefully.
thank you so much for all of that. I know that you guys are always improving and always increasing what you're doing, adding modern management techniques, and you're on the cutting edge of things, because IEF is always supporting your new endeavors, and as things get better, we're seeing measurable improvement for elephants and habitat and the people who share that habitat. So thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. My pleasure.
if if there are no more questions, I think we're good for today. We've gone about 20 minutes over, so thank you everyone for your patience and your time. This is a lot of information, I know, but we really appreciate sharing all this great work with you. And
Thank you
thank you,
very much.
Wahdi, for
Thank you.
staying up late.
It's okay. Yeah. Hi, Arnie.
Yeah,
Hi, Tom.
people are applauding you, so thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me. Really great to be able to join with you. And I really hope this conservation chat will be continue. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.